So this 5 days is about mastery of form. And it's something, at least I think for both of us, is very, very, very exciting as a subject. Mastery of form is basically mastery of life, in a way. Although mastery of life is not something, I would say, you cannot master life. There is this big misunderstanding that we are able to give life form in a way that we want it. And that brings us on a track of fighting life sometimes for lifetimes. So our lives in a certain way are a given. And if we want to come really to a deep understanding of why things are happening in a certain moment in our lives, it's really like higher mathematics. And partly because you cannot separate your life from the lives of other people. There is such a strong interbeing and togetherness in sharing our lives on this planet right now, here, in which we all are in our own way of service and all are influenced. So mastery of form is not about dictating your will to your life, but mastery of form is much more a movement into how we are responding to our own existence. How we find our freedom there in our own existence. And how we give form in daily life from moment to ourselves into this world. So that's quite a lot. And to start with this, it's really helpful to move into perception, because perception, how we perceive life, how we perceive ourselves, is quite important in this.
I notice on Twitter that when people talk about perception, they really talk about a picture, a movie, like it's a thing. Like it's my perception on the present government is this. Like it's a creation of reality. And that's not actually the meaning of the word perception. Perception is actually experiencing or seeing outwards or inwards. It's a window. It's really a window through which something at the source of who you are is looking outwards, or through which another aspect, which could be a part of yourself, looking inwards, backwards towards who you are, or another person looking into the depths of who you are. All the rest is stuff. The body, the personality, the feelings. So when we perceive outwards, we perceive through our stuff, towards the stuff of another person, or through the stuff of another person. Sometimes it's not clear who the stuff belongs to in our seeing or feeling. But what's clear is that something stable from within us is meeting something stable beyond the stuff of ourselves or of the other. Or this perception couldn't happen. And when I say the other, it can also be another within ourselves, when you look at yourself. How am I feeling today? Ooh, she's sad. Or nature, or whatever we open our eyes to. So what we've been studying in the past 3 days is a very simple division of perception into 3 layers, which in a way is already a form of perception, but it's a human form. It's a very pure, natural, human form. So the first layer is the layer of consciousness, which you could say, if you wanted to bring it really to the physical, you could say mind, the brain. Most active when we're awake and healthy. The second layer we're calling the layer of awareness, which in its most physical form is the heart. The whole dimension of feelings, of how it feels to be alive in any moment or lifetime. And the third layer, which we've been opening up, is the layer of physically the body, the physical matter being alive physically, and we call this the perception through emptiness. So we have the I am here. The body in a way is the physical anchor right now for a certain period of time to being here. The am is very much being. I am happy, I am in being. The experience of being in being, when you listen to teachers, is quite different from the experience of pure consciousness. To feel how it is to be. It's a feeling area. And the I, which is the consciousness dimension where we are at once totally individual, I, unique, at the same time that we're part of a great big I, which is humanity right now. And this is the area where we identify, we hook in to form. I am in a body. I am female. This is where the identity begins. The construction of the person, which is a form. So we hear a lot in spirituality and inner growth about form and formlessness. But much of what we consider formless is also a form. There are basically 3 rules to form. The first is that anything that we can see, that we can perceive, that we can feel, that can be seen by us, or felt by us, or experienced by us, is a form. It's not who we are. We are the one who is seeing it. It is a form. When we are happy, we are the one who is able to experience happiness. We are not the happiness. We are the one that allows the happiness. It's a form. When it comes into experience, even in the layer of feeling, it's a form. It arises out of us, like the body is an expression of us, but it's not all that we are. It's just one aspect. It's a form, a changing form. Which we have right here and right now, only. So the second rule of form is anything that is passing in time, that is in time, has a set time, which is going to pass, which is going to die, which is going to end, which has a beginning and an end, like a story, like a lifetime. Anything in time is a form. So memory is a form. Our desires and wishes and plans for the future, it's all forms. The future is a form. The past is a form. It's a form because we are the one which allows it and experiences it. In the present moment. From one perspective or another. And we said previously that the whole area of time is very much connected with the dimension of consciousness, the waking consciousness, where we build ourselves, the persons, the form of the person which we are. It's past, present, future. Where we create, or we try to create, realities. Sometimes going to war to defend them. So the third rule of form is that anything which has a limited space, which has borders, like a square, or a body, or even an area of anger, Anything which is held in space is a form. Of course, we put it very clinically, but time and space comes together to make a whole creation. Everything that is here now is held in time and space. And so then the question opens, by what is it held? What allows it? And is it worthwhile for us to allow that within ourselves? That which is able to allow this whole dance of form. And it's deep inside our culture, this basic movement of form. If you look into the Old Testament, to Genesis, the creation of the world, God doesn't say, make light, do it. He says, let there be light. Let there be a separation, the waters above and the waters below. It's a movement of allowance. It's an opening of perception. It's a permission and a softening and an agreement to let form emerge of itself, to allow that. So in a way, this course, unlike The Secret and many teachings which say manifest your reality, decide what you want, and the law of attraction will bring it, which is a very active movement of putting down a desire, is moving a little bit more deeply with the opposite, which involves some trust in the universe as being there totally for your highest purpose with whatever emerges, in the inherent beauty of it all, the inherent goodness of it all. You know, if you open The Secret, and are we familiar with The Secret? I don't really want to bash The Secret, but for me, on watching the movie, the most powerful question there is, it's really true, but what do you want? What do you really want? Because a form is empty. You can want to spend all day surrounded by money, but it's empty of the feeling, the power, the connection. You can manifest this totally through consciousness. I want to be all day surrounded by money, and you'll end up working in a bank. We don't really know with our minds what we want or what we need. Still less what is needed of us. It's so much vaster than our little fearful persons.
Isha or Albert? Who do you see?
The white one.
The white one, is he out there?
Perfect.
That was
That
close.
was close.
Oh, he's enjoying the view.
It's when you turn it around, it doesn't give the bars anymore.
Yeah, turn it to face it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when you play, you turn it on.
Yeah,
you
thank
plug
you
it.
for asking.
It's nice to see.
He's an Albert.
So good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's so nice to have you here on this course, and the name of the course is I Am Here, and it's related also to a book. It's over there, I Am Here, Georgi wrote, and basically this course is about moving more deeply inward as we did till now. So the last course, for those who were there was kind of an introduction into different ways of perception, consciousness, awareness, and perception through emptiness. And right now we're going to deepen this a little bit, move more to the depth of it. And what we hope very much give some opportunities to experience the differences and to move more deeply into what is perception and what lies behind perception. How do we perceive? And what are the differences in how, as an individual, we are perceiving? So a lot of different themes coming forward, and through the 3 days, basically what we do is that we kind of make a dance between the different ways, the different layers of perception, which all have their own kind of, each dance has their own influence and effect. So today we are moving with Georgi. Will you take over? Yeah.
So the course is called I Am Here, and at the risk of stating what you all already know already, the sentence, can we close the door? Because it's creaky. The sentence I am here is a direct reflection of the 3 windows of perception. So the I is very much connected with what we're calling consciousness. In the center of the head, from behind the thoughts and the mind. The I, the individual. The am is very much connected with awareness. What we hear in the world of inner growth as loosely referred to as being. To be. This is the am. How it feels to be here is quite another dimension from how we see ourselves here. How we think ourselves to be here. It's different from how it feels to be here. If you just take the room, we can look around and look at the people and look at the objects, look at the space. This is one way to perceive the room. This would be the I perceiving. It involves you, the I looking at something other. The other people or a detail of another person, the flowers. If we move to the layer of awareness of being and perceive the room, and we begin to feel the atmosphere in the room. And as we open this window, allowing ourselves to feel the atmosphere, we also feel the atmosphere of our feeling of ourselves. What's happening in the level of awareness, the level of emotion, of love, or sorrow or just restriction. It's really quite a different dimension. Same room, different window. And then we have the here. I am here. Traditionally, many schools work with I am, from India, and I hear now in South America also. And the method is to move with the I am without attaching to anything. You just stay with the I am, with a non-attachment. What we bring forward with I am here is the here. And it's one of those polarities in spirituality that which seems to be the most boring, simple and obvious has on its other polarity the most profound, the most expansive and the most free. And so the contemplation of what is it here? Where are we? Where am I? Where is here? In itself is a kind of window of perception which brings us often to a space behind both feeling and thinking, meaning behind consciousness and awareness. Now, if you allow that there are two windows of perception, consciousness, our waking life, beneath that awareness, which is also there when we're sleeping and dreaming and diffusing into the atmospheres around us, then that would make us a little bit divided into two. And the most amazing thing about the here is it's through the perception through emptiness, it allows the two. It allows a dance and a blend between the two. Why? Because both consciousness and awareness are basically empty also, like a cloud. Your consciousness can change vibration, it can expand, it can be focused to a petal of a flower or down a microscope. It can be focused. All of this is allowed by the emptiness between. Awareness can spread infinitely into the universe, and it can blend and move through a block in the body. It's also like a cloud or like water, transforming, changing, expanding, shrinking, finding what the form that's needed, and it's able to do this by virtue of the emptiness which is behind, before, within it. And so when we move to the here, we get a very strong sense of being, okay, here in Juno, in this body. In the really clear, undeniable, factual right now, aspects of physically being here, but it takes on, when you begin to perceive through that, a kind of miraculous quality. It becomes a miracle of being here. A kind of miracle that one hand can touch the other hand, and this hand's feeling this hand, and it's all seen. It's a space of emptiness which is intimately close to us. You know, when we finish all the workshops and we trash the teachers and we finish the books and all our belief systems collapse and everything, this is always here. We're still here. When we decide that we're somebody else, or we lose our minds, or our hormones go crazy, or it's always here. It's got incredible strength in it. It's very for real. And by allowing that into our spiritual experience of being here, we recruit our greatest strength, and we also begin to a much deeper process of incarnation, which is probably a big part of why we are here right now, human, to actually be human here. There's all the space, our lives will pass in no time, and there's all the space to float in other dimensions without a body in eternity. The real miracle is the human aspect. And that makes this teaching quite almost opposite to a lot of teachings. The direction is here. It's not to unhook and to transcend and to escape. The unhooking and the transcending and the escaping is there, but it always throws you back into the body, into the truth of the physical reality or the mental reality. There's always this circulation, which is why the Masters of Form follows on from this course. So today we have 3 days, 3 windows. Today we look much more closely into consciousness. Consciousness has some quite specific qualities. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Eckhart Tolle and the power of the now, and if not with Eckhart, then other schools of coming into the present moment. So consciousness is very much in this dimension of time. And as told now for thousands of years, time itself is one of our greatest human illusions. Everything that was is not existing, except as it's held in the present moment. Everything that is happening, that we imagine to happen in the future, is based on imagination constructed on what was. It's not real. And yet there is an incredible beauty in our doing time. It's like we are doing time in a physical body, and the miracle of having a physical body, or the miracle of having feelings. There's a miracle in doing time. It's a miracle which is made possible by being able to step out of time through the present moment, through coming into the now. The more we are able to step behind time, the more we become masters of it, the more its beauty emerges, its preciousness. The more we penetrate it in an awake way, rather than being victims of it. And it's not a difficult thing to step behind time if we just use our memory, and in a sense, everything is memory. Everything that happens, even me speaking now, it's heard from an imprint in the mind, which is memory. And then we take the bits that we need and construct from that already in real time.
We also take
A story. Yeah.
We also take the bits we recognize. What we recognized is based on earlier experience, on memory. So basically, the mind is very much working through memory. What we recognize, what we relate to, is what we remember. So the more we are in the now, the more we also able, basically, to recognize maybe now and then something new. To see it's really new. If you talk to somebody, what you see, especially when you bring something which is not so common to another person, you see the mind kind of moving away. It's like the concentration is gone and the person is kind of moving away. when in conversations or when we're doing something, we miss certain parts. These are the parts we are not really there now. The parts we don't recognize. They're the little gaps. So part of the awakening of the conscious is to really kind of move more into the now. And moving in the now means very much that you basically are aware or conscious that what is happening now is now. Now I'm moving. And that's only now. Now I'm sad. That's now. It's an observation. It's maybe something you experience as well, but it's an attitude, it's an observation. Now I am here. Now I'm walking up the stairs. Now I'm talking and she's not talking. So the more we are in the now, the more we disentangle partly from where we hold ourselves in the mind. We hold ourselves in the mind in stories. And the stories we hold ourselves in is how things should be, what it should look like. What we want it to be. How we should react. So that means that part of our conscious all the time is basically kind of looking at ourselves in a way, how do we react? Is this okay? Is this not okay? And that's already a little bit awake state, because at least we are aware that we react right now. And so often when we are in pain or we're in bliss, then we kind of move also out of the now. When we are in pain, we have the feeling this will be forever. It's unbearable. Will never pass. So it has to go away. And then we use our consciousness partly to fight. And also this kind of, brings us out of the now, out of the awakening. It's just now. When you look to the awakened consciousness in itself, when it totally awakens, it's cold and dry. It's not something which is very warm. It's conscious of. It's witnessing. So consciousness in itself, when it's awakened, doesn't mean that there is a lot of feeling or a lot of awareness. The conscious can awaken without feeling. So the feeling aspect is very, very important in a way. But the conscious is very important as well, because you cannot kind of move freely in an awakening of the observer of the feeling if there is not an opening in the conscious as well, if there is not an awakening. Then we get totally lost in our emotions and feelings. We're not in the now, we just become a victim of our emotions, a victim of our feelings. So to really be able to witness in the now, we need the mind to be silent. It's very difficult when the mind is all the time rattling. Then we can witness the mind rattling, but it's interfering. So how do we silence the mind? Basically, we silence the mind by stepping backwards, by letting go. A thought is just a thought. By not identifying with what we are thinking, but much more by looking at the whole process of thought.